Howdy, Liz.
Howdy, Mr. Robot. How are things in the desert tonight?
Ah, it's another lonely desert night under the moon, which is actually what tonight's video is about, the moon.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait because I love probing the moon.
Cool.
Oh, there we go.
So, there's a few things that'll all tie together, but what I first want to do is show the audience this clip. There's this gentleman C2Rs0777, and he records the moon every night, and he's basically always been waiting and hoping to catch some phenomena on the moon. I think he built his telescope in his backyard.
Wow.
uh, it's a pretty cool setup he has. I think you can find his website somewhere and it shows it. This video's already had over 1 million views. What makes it so interesting is, out of all those nights, he caught something very interesting on camera. And what it is, you can actually see a little bit of it right here starting. Okay, let's see. So there is this wave happening across the moon. Here's the first wave, and then here comes another one. And it happens across the whole face of the moon. And then I think there's a third wave. And he puts different filters on it so you can see it. Here it is. And he has made so many videos about this, trying to analyze it, what it is. He's disproved people who would claim it's rolling shutter or any type of effect like that, because people like to argue that it was caused by him moving his camera, but he stops moving the camera and you still see this effect even when he moves left and right or down. Um, and I just want to probe this event, and I will. He is coining it a hologram. He kind of, he's thinking of it as a hologram refreshing its screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and can you actually channel the moon as an entity and ask it what this wave is?
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. Let me just ask you, is this a full moon phase or almost at a full moon phase when he's found this wave?
It looks, maybe waning or waxing something. It doesn't look
No,
too full.
it doesn't look too full. So that would be interesting to know whether it's a waning moon or a waxing moon.
Yeah, luckily some moon person will definitely see this and know. But
Okay, great. Let me pull the moon in because,
yeah,
for those of you that are new to the channel, I can talk to the moon and to the planets, and because they hold the consciousness and we have great conversations. What is this wave from September 2012? That is actually frequent. That wave.
mm-hmm.
And what is so interesting about the wave? As you're seeing it move, it's not just a screen thing because it's only focused on the moon. So it's
Yes,
not like
exactly. That's why he put these filters on, to prove that it's not happening across the whole screen. It's just localized to the physicality of the moon. And you can even see a rolling effect of how the moon is shifting in height around the edge.
play that again. Oh, there's another one. Was this the only time he caught this wave?
He's been trying ever since to capture it again. He might have got it again, but I'm uncertain on that fact.
Okay. This happens frequently. This is a frequent occurrence. You know how, like, a snake sheds its skin?
Mm-hmm.
The moon is shedding its energy and moving into a new phase.
So Ask the moon if that is a technological occurrence or is that a physical shifting of its crust?
Is that a physical shifting of your crust or is it a technological occurrence? Physical shifting.
And what causes the pulsation? Because there has to be a huge force to cause a wave across the entire moon.
It has to be a huge force to cause a wave across the entire moon. What causes it? It's a power shift in the universe. It's almost like it's hit with some sort of, the way I can describe it, like a wave machine. So the universe or the solar system causes the planets to do these shifts. It's not just the moon that does this. When they're moving into different phases, they have to shed the energy.
And can you pull in Bashar and ask him his opinion on this?
Yeah, of course. What is your opinion on this moon wave? It's meant to happen. This is something that we go through, many planets go through, many solar systems go through. And I'm saying, but why does this not happen here on Earth? And he's saying it actually does happen on Earth many times.
Ask him if we notice it happening.
Do we notice it happening? No.
Yeah, because
Is it like an earthquake? Is it painful? No, it's not painful. It's not anything that we notice. It's just a different change of energy. So that makes sense to me. Okay? Because sometimes, when we're going into these, for instance, is it like the Mercury retrograde or whatever that causes hell on earth, right? The planet Mercury will have to, shed the energy to shift, and then also the our Earth will also automatically shift and shed that energy so that we are always in planetary alignment energetically, because all we are is a send and receive mechanism, and that's all the planets are anyway. The moon, the sun, it's all send and receive energetic communication.
can can you ask Bashar if this has anything to do with the moon being any type of hologram?
Does this have anything to do with them? Is the moon any type of hologram? No, it's solid rock.
Okay. And ask Bashar how many alien bases are on the moon.
How many alien bases are on the moon? Thousands.
And ask him how many alien bases the SSani have on the moon.
How many alien bases do the SSani have? Hundreds.
So the SSani is the type of race that Bashar is.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Ask Bashar if he's ever been to the moon.
Have you ever been to the moon? Several times.
Let's see if we can get a description of what a base looks like on the interior. Is it look like a city?
Does it look like a city? No, you have to understand the base is actually built by the consciousness. So even though we as humans cannot see any sort of physical outline of the base as an energy, because that's what an entity is. That's what a conscious mind construct is. It's an energy, right? Doesn't mean that it's not there. We are just not advanced enough to see it.
Well, I assume that a lot of the bases are actually on the backside of the moon. Can you ask Bashar if that's accurate?
Yes, that's true.
And are any of the bases physical?
The base is physical. Yes, but not very many.
And the ones that are physical, are they above or below ground?
The ones that are physical, are they above? Below ground. Below.
And these bases, what do they look like on the inside?
They look like underground tunnels, and he's showing me like underground tunnels with pipelines and hallways and technology,
And what is
energy weapons.
and what does the physical base serve? What is its purpose?
Does the physical base serve as a purpose? It's a scare tactic.
Made by aliens?
Yes.
And ask Bashar if governments on the Earth are aware of these bases.
Are governments on Earth aware of these bases? No.
And then, real quick, ask Bashar if our moon landing was real or a hoax with the Buzz Lightyear or whatever.
What? To infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
Was the moon landing a hoax? No, it was real.
So humans have been to the moon.
Yes.
So I've seen some interesting footage that would make me think that a lot of the footage, at least, has been faked. So we'll have to do another video on that. But um, so okay, that's interesting. And then let's just move straight to Europa. Ask Bashar if there's any life on Europa. It's a moon of Jupiter.
Is there any life on Europa than Jupiter? No.
Or was there ever life
Was there
on
ever?
Europa?
Yeah, millions of years ago.
And was it like the Earth?
It's very similar, yes.
So a lot of people think that this is ice and there's this ocean underneath. Can you ask Bashar if there's an ocean under the surface of Europa?
Is there an ocean under the surface of Europa? There is water. Is it an ocean? No, it's not an ocean.
And are there like single-celled organisms or more advanced in that water?
Are there single-celled organisms living in the water? No, it's impossible.
Maybe because it's too cold. Ask if it's too cold for life.
Too cold for life. Yes, it's freezing.
Yeah, it is a frozen, definitely frozen. But scientists hypothesize that deep enough that the gravity forces of Jupiter, it pulls and pushes on the surface, which towards the core, creates warmth. Can you ask Bashar if towards the core of Europa, if it's warmer?
Is it warmer towards the core of Europa? No.
And what is the core of the moon like that is around Earth? Is it hollow?
Is it hollow, the moon, the core of the moon? It's gaseous.
And also, if the moon's distance from Earth was set by aliens,
Was the moon's distance from Earth set by aliens? No, source.
and is there a frequency of the moon that was set by aliens?
Is there a frequency of the moon set by aliens? Yes.
And does that frequency have to do with that footage we watched?
Is that frequency
The
to do with that footage we watched? No, that's the natural order of the moon.
Ask him why aliens have altered the frequency of the moon.
Why have aliens altered the frequency of the moon? To turn down human consciousness.
To slow it down or to speed it up?
Slow it down or speed it. Slow it down.
So that is very interesting because I actually am kind of pulling from a video where someone asked Bashar about this wave, and he said that aliens altered the frequency of it to change the rate of human development. So it's interesting that through that channel, it's kind of assumed that it was to help us, but as we're asking him now, it was to tune us down.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it confirms that the channel's information was at least, somewhat that. I mean, we're basically back testing that information, and you didn't know about that someone was already asked, what happened to this wave with Bashar. But
No, I had no
um,
idea.
so that's interesting. And so on another note, is the non-physical bases. Is there any way to see those? Can a psychic can you see all the non-physical bases?
Yes, I would be allowed to see them. What about just regular people? No.
So let's just get you to have a first-hand description, like where you do like remote viewing. If you can remote view like a very advanced space on the moon that's non-physical, see if you can lock in through whatever means you find best.
Okay. Um, so I'm already there. It it looks like it kind of looks like Star Trek, right? But it has these wave weapons, these energy weapons um, that shoot out energetic frequencies that can basically make the enemy destruct. See, you don't need like modern day missiles, you know what I mean? Bombs,
Right.
cannonballs, whatever you want to throw a baseball. I don't know. But you don't need those because you throw that at an energetic being, it's just going to go right through them. It's not going to do anything. You actually have to hit the other being with such a high frequency or a high force of energy that it completely just obliterates them.
And when you're looking at the space, do you see a lot of entities in it currently
No,
unoccupied?
mostly unoccupied, yes.
And is there like hangar doors where lots of vehicles are parked?
Yes.
And is this on the Earth facing or dark side of the moon?
This on the earth facing or dark side? This is the dark side.
And ask if there's any bases at the bottom of any uh, impact sites on the Earth side.
Are there any bases on the impact sites on the earth side? There used to be.
So Crow 77, I believe he actually also got footage of some UFOs entering and exiting the moon. And there's no way I'm gonna find it in time. But can you ask Bashar if the footage of UFOs entering or exiting the moon is true?
Yeah, footage that Crow 777 has of UFOs or aliens entering and exiting the moon. Is that accurate? Yes.
See if I could find it. Pretty epic footage if I can find it. Um, looks like this.
So has this Crow 777, is he still doing moon captivation now?
I don't know. I got totally obsessed with it. I was watching it all the time because I thought that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But I, you know, there's only so much you can learn from just a video. So it was nice to confirm that this is just something happening, at least, and not a camera phenomenon. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because you confirm with Bashar that that's not just a camera defect, right? That
Right. That
right.
that's not just a camera defect. That's correct.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, there's some footage. It's apparently hard to find, and there's a whole bunch of these craft that are leaving the moon. It's really weird, and it'd be really interesting if we can find Bashar's perspective on that. I feel like YouTube has been like scrubbed of
Censored?
a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Whoa,
it's
surprise, surprise.
because this was easy to find back then, but now it's like, where is this stuff? It doesn't show up when you Google it. It's so weird.
Well, that's
Um,
okay. We can do a separate probe on that.
yeah. So, anyways, just wanted to talk about the moon and Europa. So that's kind of all I had for this video.
That was pretty awesome. So thank you very much. Once again, I'm sure people will love this. If
I
you,
actually have one more thing I just remembered.
yeah, okay.
Okay. They're called sky critters.
Oh,
Um, there are these things, these big, gigantic, mile-long blobs that are caught on film if you use a UV camera. Can you ask if sky critters, as we know them, are they real or are we wrong?
sky critters as we know them, are they real? Yes, very real. They're energy forms.
Ah, skyfish. This is what I was looking for. Um, so there's these gigantic blobs that are on the outer rim of like the highest level of the atmosphere, and it's kind of believed that they might just be sucking energy. Can you ask Bashar if these critters are, at the edge of our atmosphere?
Are these critters at the edge of the atmosphere? Yes.
And what are they doing?
They're studying us.
And are they of the Earth plane?
No.
Are they creatures like life forms? Are they alien life forms?
Are they alien life forms? No, they're sort of like data centers.
Are these data centers for Source?
Are these data centers for Source? Are they data centers for Source? Yes. Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like, why would Source need data centers?
Yeah, why do these exist?
To keep tabs on us?
But isn't Source omnipresent?
Not always.
What is Bashar's perspective on these critters, skyfish?
They're spies.
And ask him if they're basically everywhere.
Yes.
Are these kind of like eyes in the sky?
Exactly.
And let's probe one as a conscious entity.
Okay.
So what describe what you pick up on when you connect to one.
It's like a calculation machine.
Ask him how it was formed.
How were you formed? How were you formed? Like sources said, like let there be light, and there was light. Let there be data centers, and there were data centers.
Ask if these are portals in which souls enter or exit when they are incarnating or dying.
Are those portals where souls enter and exit, where they are reincarnating or dying? Are they souls? They don't want to talk to me. They're not allowed to give me any information. Are they souls that I'm asking Bashar? Are they souls that are portals to the spirit world when we die? Are they portals to come down? They're portals to come down, but not to exit. So they're entry portals, but not exit portals.
And ask Bashar why we don't have an exit portal.
Why do we not have an exit? We do.
Where are those located?
Where are those located? Underground. Wait a minute. Where are the exit portals located? I'm not getting an answer for that.
Weird.
Yeah.
Ask him if
Yeah.
source
Big
is
time weird. Creep factor. Hello.
ask him if source is blocking him to answer that.
Source blocking me to answer that. It's me blocking the answer. So something within me is blocking that answer.
Oh, okay.
The source light that is within me, because we all have God within us.
Yeah.
It's me blocking that answer.
Okay. Yeah, well. I don't think it'll change anyone's day to day too much, knowing where the portals are, but
No, I like this one picture to the right, which it says this one is from Trevor James Constable, captured in the invisible near UV using high-speed infrared film without red filter.
yeah, ask Bashar why these show up in the infrared spectrum.
Because they're naked to the human eye. We're not allowed to see that stuff.
And ask him if uh if governments are aware of these.
Are governments aware of these? Yes.
And what do the governments think about these things?
What does, and NASA knows as well. What do the governments think of it? They don't know what to make of it.
What is NASA's opinion on the sky creatures?
What is NASA's opinion on sky creatures? It's just strange phenomena. They don't understand it. They've tried to measure it, but when they get in there, it's just like air. It's just there's nothing there that they could pick up on. It's so far removed from human understanding.
Ask if they get energy from over lightning storms.
Ooh, do they get energy over lightning storms? No.
Um, do they need an energy source?
Yes.
And what is their energy source?
Source.
Okay, perfect. If anyone likes UFO stuff, Third Phase of Moon puts out some really good videos. And I was just remembering that they had some really good footage, kind of like this one, NASA. There's a lot of really interesting things in basically satellite photos of Earth that they sometimes forget to scrub.
Ah.
Um, it must be their really old stuff because all this new stuff looks silly. But I mean that's all I got with the sky critters. There's other footages of craft along the outer, I don't know what you want to call it, just the outer barrier of Earth. And that's what I wanted to probe right now, but I am not seeing it. But we can save that for another time.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's kind of weird. Listen, I'm kind of spooked out now. And as you know, when I'm shooting videos with you, it's always in the dark. So I'm like mega spooked.
Oh, they're just sky critters.
Oh, they're just sky critters. I hope they don't like, hover over the top of my house and oh no.
Oh, they're right there. They're right above you, probably.
Oh, lovely. Oh my gosh. That's kind of strange. Like if they're coming down the tunnel through those portals,
Yeah.
how do they know to land in in which human they're going to land into?
Yeah, ask Bashar.
It's all by design. There you go.
So I think Bashar said that there are several souls competing to enter an embryo. Can you ask him if that's correct?
Ooh, are there several souls competing to enter an embryo? No, there's only one.
Weird. Oh, maybe I wonder if it's Seth who said that.
When do they enter into the embryo? Is it at the first week? Is it at conception? No. Is it after that? About the fifth week. That brings me to another point, which was I had a reading recently where somebody had their eggs fertilized and frozen, and then they were going to have these eggs implanted within them, but there's a lot of eggs, right?
Yeah.
So what were those eggs? In each one of those eggs, did it contain a soul? And the answer was no.
Right.
And it looks like the soul enters in to the embryo at about 5 to 6 weeks, which is actually, I'm not sure when the heartbeat is actually formed, but, and I'm sure somebody who knows this will write a comment down there on the YouTube comments. But yeah, definitely the soul is not present at conception. And, that's going to be a big debate now for all the pro and anti abortion. I
Well,
mean, I'm
yeah,
not
let's
even getting into all that.
I was gonna say what is the soul perspective on abortion? Like, does the soul's mind?
This is so minded of abortion. No, it was meant to happen.
Yeah, that's what I believe is that, then your soul is basically just waits for another embryo to find. So,
Does the soul then wait for another embryo to find? Yes, it'll come down into another soul family because it wasn't wanted.
yeah.
That's sad. But
And
that's a life lesson in itself, right? You only spent a very small amount of time, on the earth plane, even if you're in a womb. And,
right.
all the emotions that are attached to, whether you're pro abortion or anti abort, that's nothing to do with me. I am not here
Yeah.
to judge anybody. I'm not saying I'm pro. I'm not saying I'm anti. I'm saying that I take off the 3D hat and I look into things much deeper than that.
Well,
And
let's actually ask Jesus a couple questions on that too.
okay, we're going to get
Um,
thrown off YouTube, but go ahead.
no. Does Jesus believe that we have committed a great sin if we have an abortion?
Do you believe that we commit a great sin if we have an abortion? The deadliest of sins.
And what is Jesus's description of sin? What is it?
What is your description of sin? Rules that must be obeyed. And if you disobey the rules, that's a sin.
But what is Jesus's perspective on hell?
What is your perspective on hell? It doesn't exist.
Why do the sins matter then?
Well, that's a good question. Why do sins? And we're asking Jesus.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Jesus and Bashar are going to give us very different answers. Why do sins matter? Because they're imprints on your soul.
And ask Jesus if that has to do with our karma.
Does it have to do with our karma? Yes.
And um does is can people have their sins forgiven by source?
Ooh, can people have their sins forgiven by source? And as I asked that question, you flashed that bright white light at me. I was like, oh God, here we go. They're coming for me. Um, that's a no.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to really do with being forgiven. Because I feel like source doesn't really care. It's more about you made that decision, and now it's imprinted on your soul, and that's just your own karma that you have to deal with, right?
Exactly. And forgiveness really has to come from within and other people, not so much from source. Source is not going to judge you one way or the other,
Right,
really.
exactly.
It's the soul that judges you.
Yeah,
Does that make
because
sense?
yeah, totally. And ask Jesus what we can do with source in regards to sin.
What can we do with source with regards to sin? Nothing. It has to come from within.
And does forgiving ourselves have anything to do with our karma?
Does forgiving ourselves have to do anything to do with our karma? Yes, you can move on past the life lesson. But, here we go again. This was only going to be a short video. I can see this going into hours. Your conscious mind is so separate from the soul.
Right.
They're rarely working in conjunction with one another, right?
Yeah.
So your conscious mind can say, I'm never going into that bad relationship again. I'm never going to
Right.
forgive myself. I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do that again. But the problem is on the soul and the subconscious level, that energy is still stored there, whether the conscious mind likes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you have to find a way to process it and remove it.
Okay. And then ask Jesus if religion has any uh contribution to helping with that.
Does religion have any contribution to helping with that? Yes, because it teaches us to offer forgiveness to others. And that's part of the processing.
And which religion does Jesus think is the most accurate of how things actually work?
Which religion is the most accurate of how things actually work? Buddhist.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that. And ask Jesus if the Buddhist, I don't know what they're called. They're basically, let's just call them prophets. Were they tapping into source, or was it a different, like a different form of Jesus? Their Jesus, or is it just source directly?
They're tapping into source that is stored within themselves.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna make me think for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because the source and the prophet or the monk or, Buddhist monks or whatever, devotees, and I'm not talking about Western world devotees, right? I'm talking about hardcore, born into it, or, your life was put into that at a very young age.
Yeah.
Their light, their God light shines brighter than the rest of us.
So, um, let's see. I have some information right here. Someone asked me about Buddhism. Ask Jesus if the Vedic religion is governed by the cycle of life and death.
The which religion?
The Vedic,
Spell that.
Vedic.
The Vedic religion. Is that governed by the cycle of life and death? No, it's governed by source only.
So Buddhism is really just a big interpretation on source, right?
It's almost like a replica, a copy of source.
And let's see, what does Jesus think about the seven rishis? Rishis.
I've heard of those. I don't know what they are. What do you think about the seven rishis? I don't know why. What are those exactly?
One is Agastya, Atri, Bharadwaja, Gautam. I don't know these words, but it means something to the Buddhists in the audience.
Spell that for me.
Oh, the first one is Agastya, Agastya.
Agastya. See, okay. Jesus says they're irrelevant.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
They actually are a distractor.
Oh, this it talks about I think they're Hindu deities, and it talks about how their third eye is open to their fullest capacity. I think it has to do with, the idea that you can open your third eye more and you can basically observe more of the universe when your third eye is more open. Ask Jesus what his opinion is on opening our third eye.
It's forbidden.
What about people who have naturally open third eyes?
They're chosen.
And what does Jesus think about like when I am energy healing and like I'm working on my third eye? What is his perspective on that?
That's your chosen path.
Is that like positive? Is it a positive thing to heal your third eye?
It's however you choose to interpret it and what you do with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm strictly thinking in chakras, uh, energy centers. What does Jesus think about energy centers that are blocked?
What do you think about energy centers that are blocked? It's your soul's way of protecting you.
And can we heal those energy centers?
No, you can only release them.
Release what's blocking them, right?
Yes,
Because they're like funnels of energy.
that's correct.
Cool. Well, for questions that were like stuff on chakras, if anyone is interested in contributing some information on chakras, we can ask Jesus or Bashar. What is Bashar's opinion on chakras?
They're relevant.
Does he think that we can live healthier lives if we have clean chakras?
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, you got to start at probing the obvious, and then we can, dive deeper later.
Yes. So, as you heard, Mr. Robot is collecting questions on chakras, something that I don't really tend to know a lot about. Liz, how come? Because I don't need to. And I don't mean that horribly. I just use my third eye and my communication, my modes of communication, right? So
Mhm.
I go with what works for me. Other people have chakras and other people have other things that work for them, and that's great. And, by all means, you go you find out what works for you, and you flow with it, right? You go with the flow. That's just not something that works for me or something that I really tap into. However, if you would like to submit questions to Mr. Robot that you would like answered on one of our videos, you need to email him at moongrass777@gmail.com. You can also ask me to forward them on to Mr. Robot, psychiclizcross.com. And of course, those of you that are in the Patreon, remote viewing and beyond, we talk about all this stuff all the time anyway. So
Yep.
I'll pick it up there, but ping me directly. Thank you for another astonishing video, Mr. Robot. I'm sure everyone will appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Great. Thanks.
And this is a fun one. So thank you.